الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Once the Prophet ﷺ was performing tawaf and he looked at the Kaaba and said that, "O Kaaba, how fine you are, how beautiful and how pure you are, and what a beautiful fragrance comes from you. And what a great status Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Allah Azza wa Jalla has made you so sacred." Then he went on to say that وَالْمُؤْمِنُ أَعْظَمُ حُرْمَةً مِّنْكَ. A believer is even more sacred in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ explained this by saying that إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَعَلَكِ حَرَامًا. Allah has definitely made you sacred. It is the most sacred place in the world for a Muslim. وَحَرَّمَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِ مَالَهُ وَدَمَهُ وَعِرْضَهُ. But for a Muslim, for a believer, every aspect of them is sacred. It is untouchable. Their wealth cannot be taken without their permission. Nobody can tamper with another person's wealth. Their blood is sacred. No one can shed another person's blood. And it goes even beyond that. Their honor, their reputation is also sacred. No one is allowed to tamper with someone else's reputation. Just like we can't tamper with someone's life and someone's wealth, we're not allowed to tamper with someone's reputation. It's absolutely haram. And this hadith goes on to say, وَأَن نَظُنُّ بِهِ ظَنًّا سَيِّئًا. It's even, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even made it haram for us to have bad assumptions, wrong thoughts, incorrect judgments about other Muslims. In other words, we cannot pass a judgment on someone without having facts in front of us. We cannot assume bad things. We cannot look at people in a negative light. So the Prophet ﷺ taught us how important, how sacred each person is. So what does that mean? It means that it's our responsibility to look at each other with an eye of respect, with an eye of love, but with an eye of respect as well. Where we respect each person's, like we respect each person's life, we respect their property, and we respect their reputation or their respect. We respect the fact that every person is entitled to their own respect. Everyone is entitled to that. And no one has the right to take that away from them. And everyone has the right to be looked at in a positive way, instead of being judged based on false assumptions, based on hearsay, based on rumors. No. And because we look at each other like this, we are not allowed to mistreat each other. Sometimes it doesn't really look like mistreatment, or the intention is not to mistreat the other person. Sometimes it's just a joke. Once, the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with a group of his companions. One of them got up to go do something. As he was gone, another companion took his slippers, his shoes. He took them, put them underneath him and sat on top. When this person who had left came back, he said, "My shoes, they were right here." Everyone's like, "Oh, we don't know, we haven't seen them." Then, after some time, the one who had them, the one who was sitting on them, said, "Oh, here they are." So, the Prophet ﷺ was told that this was happening in the gathering. Somebody got up and somebody hid their shoes, and this little thing was going on in the corner. The Prophet ﷺ said, كَيْفَ بِرَوْعَةِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. How can you frighten another believer? So right away he said, "O Prophet of Allah, I was just joking. إِنَّمَا فَعَلْتُهُ لَاعِبًا. Again the Prophet ﷺ repeated himself, كَيْفَ بِرَوْعَةِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. Don't you think that you have frightened, you've scared another believer? Other incidents of this nature also happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and right away he addressed it. Once a Sahabi was riding on his animal, he fell asleep. When he fell asleep, another Sahabi came by, and this Sahabi, he had like a quiver filled with arrows, a container where you keep arrows. So somebody took his arrows out. When he woke up, he felt that his quiver was empty. He got scared that, what happened? So then the Sahabi gave it back, but the Prophet ﷺ, when he learnt of this, he said, no. He said, you frightened him. You scared him. So much so that the Prophet ﷺ taught us that if you are going to pass someone a sharp object, somebody needs something, they ask for a pair of scissors, don't point the pointy end towards them. No. Keep the pointy end towards yourself, give them the handle. If it's a sharp object like a knife, a cutter, pair of scissors, anything that could possibly cut or injure a person, keep the sharp point to yourself. And he even taught us that if you have to walk, if you have to move something like that from one place to another, then don't carry it around with the sharp end sticking out. You keep it close to yourself, keep it in your hand. You keep it close to yourself so that not only is everyone around you safe, but also they're not scared. You're not doing anything to frighten people, to scare people. So the Prophet ﷺ had a great deal of love for his ummah. He could not bear to see the pain and the suffering of his ummah. And he also did not want people in this ummah causing others disturbance, causing pain, causing hurt, causing fear, any unpleasant experience. The Prophet ﷺ taught us, educated us to make sure people around us don't feel any of that. That's how we have to live amongst each other. There are hundreds of us living here, spending the day here, even though we're not here in the evenings. But we spend a good part of the day together. These are the teachings that we implement in the classroom, in the playground, in our movements, and everything becomes harmonious, everything becomes easy. Otherwise, if we think, well, no, nobody can do that to me and get away with it, and that's good enough, but we're not making sure that we're not causing that for other people, then we're not fulfilling the expectations that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had from us. And remember that when you cause that kind of emotion, that kind of feeling to someone, that feeling of hurt, that feeling of fright, it stays with them. And we all have to face the consequences of our acts one day or another. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to honor each other and respect each other the way our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us. Wa sallallahu wa sallama wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad.